Welcome to day 28 of this 30-day challenge. So we're so close to being finished now. I hope you're still with me. I hope that you're learning as we go through this process. So today we're going to be focusing on more dynamic exercise. So we're going to actually be jumping. And when you're jumping, there's a few things that you need to consider, and that's what we're going to go through today. But before we do, if you're here for relaxation, please skip through to the relaxation portion of the video, which is a little bit later on. When it comes to jumping, the key thing to note is that you need to contract your pelvic floor while you are in the air. So you need to pre-tension the pelvic floor if you're going to jump. Once you have lifted off, you want to get a stronger contraction before you land down. So you want to make sure that when you're landing that the knees are soft so that the legs are taking some of the ground reaction forces and they're not just shooting all the way up to the pelvic floor. We're going to work a little on bringing the legs together to start. I want you to take a step forward and a step backwards. Hips are kind of in the middle, and we're going to go for a squat. So once you come down, I want you to have like about an RPE4, so like that standard kind of, I've got a little bit of a connection here. And what we're going to do is jump up, swapping the legs and landing back down again. So we're going to go from the squat to another squat, and we're going to go from one side to the other, and the legs you can see are taking the force. What I really want you to feel is that engagement when you come up. So as you're bouncing yourself up into the air, I want you to grab your pelvic floor before you land, and I want you to keep that hold as you soften the knees. Then you can relax at the bottom, and then you can press up again for the other side. So bring the hands onto the hips. We're going to come down and we're going to get ready. So you have about a 4 on the pelvic floor, and we're going to come to 10, 4, 10, 4, 10, 4, 10, 4, 10, 4. This is hard. 10, 4, 10, 4, 10, 4, 10, 4, 10, 4. All right, give the legs a little shake. So if you have pelvic organ prolapse, then that can be a little scary because you're jumping, but don't be scared. What I want you to do is make sure that before you try these jumps that you have already got that good strength. And if you do find that you're jumping and you're feeling a little heavy around the pelvis, then don't jump. It's not time yet. Definitely don't do it around the time of the month. Give a little bit of space, unless you feel really solid and you're not at all symptomatic around the time of the month, then it doesn't really matter. We're going to try also some jumping from one side of the mat to the other side of the mat. And as we do this, I want you to grab your pelvic floor while you're in the air, and I want you to land with both feet, soften the knees, hips go back a little, keep the base of support over the feet. So coming down, we're going to lift the arms, we're going to bend the legs, and we're going to jump. So when you're up, grab your pelvic floor. So again, we're going to come down. So you have a little bit of tone in the pelvic floor when you come down, and then 10, 4, okay? Do the same again. So we're going to bend the knees, come down, 4, 10, 4, okay? We do one more. So again, you come down, you have a sustained RPE4 about here, but when you jump 10 and then you 4 to land. So you have the contraction while you're in the air. You have to grip your pelvic floor while you're in the air. One last one of these. So bending the knees, swing the arms, grip and land, and soften the knees as you land. Okay, so this is dynamic, and it's obviously quite fast paced, gets the heart going a little bit, all very good, but a lot of work with ground reaction forces and with teaching to grab when you're in the air. Now, a more sustained version of this could be to do, for example, skipping. So you can do skipping where you do opposite legs. If you do have a skipping rope, that is something that you can try. But the important thing is to know that when you're coming up, you have to grab the pelvic floor when you're up. If you try to do it that you grab the pelvic floor as you land, then it's not as effective. It needs to be a pre-tensioning. So I'm out of breath. I think that's enough of the strengthening for today. We're going to come down and work a little on our relaxation. And for today, we are going for the butterfly pose. Now this is a nice release after all the jumping. So all of that jumping is pretty hard on the legs, and this is a really nice pose for releasing the legs. So before you start, just make sure that you remove the flesh from underneath your sitting bones, and then allow yourself to fold forward. Of course, if you need a bolster or some other support, then you can take that. So take whatever you need. And if folding forward is too much for you, you can also use a bolster to rest your head and your hands on. So take the support that your body needs, and then allow yourself to relax into the position. And once you come down into the position, start to just release the breath. Allow the rib cage to be heavy, let the belly hang. Allow the weight of the head to release forward. And as we relax into this butterfly position, we allow the body to take what it needs. We allow the nervous system to adjust the balance of tension through the connective tissue, through the muscles, on the backs of the legs, on the insides of the legs, and even around the glutes. Notice how it feels in your pelvic floor after all that dynamic movement. Try to allow surrender. Make sure you're not holding your head up, just let the head hang. Make sure you're not gripping with your fingers or your toes. Just allow everything to be really soft. Just imagine space through the inside of the body. Imagine lightness. Imagine that every inhalation creates an openness and an expansion. Space in your joints, and lengthening through the muscles. And then start to take the first of 3 long, deep breaths. With each inhalation, imagine that you can expand the backside of your body. With each exhalation, allowing the chest and the head to loosen and hang a little closer to the floor. Inhaling deeply and exhaling completely. One last deep inhalation. And then gently bring the energy back into the hands. Slowly walk yourself up. We're going to take the hands around the legs to release the legs. Just take yourself to lying down, and to hug the right knee in towards the chest. Try to bring it down towards the shoulder. And feel a little compression in the hip socket as you do this. Release that one, take the other leg, do the same thing. So taking it out a little bit to the left side, reaching it towards the shoulder. And then releasing that leg, and take yourself back up to a seated position. So a little crazy with all the jumping today, but really good to start to begin that process of teaching your pelvic floor to manage the change in pressure when you jump. So if you're trying to return to running, these would be prerequisites. So before you start going out and pounding the pavements, you're going to teach your pelvic floor to react in very fast, dynamic situations. I hope you're enjoying this. I wish you a really lovely day, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.